Good morning, gamers. Welcome to Psych 101. I'll be your professor, Tater Tot TCG. Today we're going to go over the Psychic Archetype, just a chill intro, go over some of the new cards, talk about some variants that you could run, and just have a good time. Alright, so let's start with the new cards. First is Mind Procedure. I think this is probably the best card that we got because it searches E-Telly and it's the most generic. It doesn't lock you in the extra deck or anything, whereas something like Serene Psychic Girl does. It can search any teleport, normal, or quick play spell, so that includes Emergency Teleport, which I think is your most common search target, Teleport Fusion, or Parallel Teleport. Can technically also search Assault Teleport if you want to draw 2 cards by returning an Assault mode monster from your hand to the deck. That could be pretty cool. So on normal summon or special by a monster effect, you pay 2,000 to add a teleport, and then if this card's banished, you can pay 1,000 to special summon it. If you could use both of these effects in one turn, that would be cracked, but unfortunately you can only use one. If this card would be used as synchro material for a psychic monster, you can treat it as a non-tuner. That's pretty cool. Comes up a lot, actually. Going into like Silent Psychic Magician or your Psychic Blaster MK2. The next new card, Serene Psychic Girl. This card is a great starter. It does lock you in the extra deck for the rest of the turn into Psychic monsters. But when it's normal or special summoned, you can banish a card from your hand. And if you do, special summon 1 level 4 or lower psychic monster from your deck, except itself. Importantly, this is not cost, so if you get ashed, you don't have to banish a card from hand, so that's nice. And then it also has a level modulating effect, so you can target face-up monsters on the field that have a level up to the number of psychic monsters you control. Increase their levels by 1 till the end of this turn. And each effect is a hard once per turn. So this comes up a lot, actually, when you have like a Xiamen and a Mind Procedure on the fields. And you want to play under Nib, so you go Serene Psychic Girl, target the Mind Procedure and the Xiamen, make them level 4. You go straight into your Punk Jam Dragon Drive, and then this will add a level 3 Psychic. And then you can overlay on top the card that we just got in Battles of Legend Monster Mayhem, the Jam Fever, which is a monster negate. So as long as you have a level 3 Psychic monster in your grave, which you almost always do, you can detach a material to negate the activation and destroy that monster. So the next new card, let's do Prototype Psychic Blaster next. You can discard this card. It's a level 6 Earth Psychic. Special summon 1 level 4 or lower Psychic monster from your hand or banishment. This is nice. I've been trying this at 1, 2, or 3 in various builds. I think there's something to be said for each of those numbers. If this card's in your graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life and banish another Psychic from your grave. Special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. This will trigger your Lambda, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So this is a great extender. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do anything on its own. You have to draw playable along with this card, and then it becomes very good. Same thing with Hush Psychic Minister. This card does nothing on its own. If you control a Psychic monster other than itself, you can special summon it in defense. So it's a very generic extender. It's level 3 non-tuner. So that comes up a lot. You can search it off the Punk Jam Dragon Drive to extend in your combo. And then it has a pretty cool either utility or board breaking effect where you can banish this card and another Psychic monster from your grave and target a face-up monster on the field, banish it until the end phase. So going second, this comes up to just get rid of a body from your opponent, and then on your turn, it can also trigger your Psy-Frame, your Lambda. Because if a face-up Psychic monster you control is banished face-up while you control this monster, then you get to search during the end phase. So that's nice. The next card is Parallel Teleport. This card is great, except that it locks you the entire turn into Psychic monsters, so you can only play this in a very pure build. Cannot really play this in Punk or anything with Fiendsmith, or it's great with like Kashtira cards, but because some of your punks are Sea Serpents or like Dirnitza Warrior, it's unfortunate that you can't use this card. So tribute a Psychic monster that has a level. So you can't tribute something like Punk Jam Fever, but pretty much anything else. You couldn't tribute a Lambda either. Special summon a level 7 or lower Psychic monster from your deck or extra deck. Then if those monsters' original levels are different, you lose life points equal to the difference times 1,000. So if you go from a 2 to a 7, you lose 5k. That's pretty important. Because if you, say, get impermed on Serene Psychic Girl, you chain parallel teleport into like a Fenrir, then you are going to lose 5,000 life points. And if you're paying 2,000 with Mind Procedure, you are down to 1,000 life points. And then if you're paying 6 with the Punk Jam Dragon Drive, you're going to get down to 400 life points, which puts you in the danger zone for something like a Vanquish Soul Trap. That actually has come up where I just got myself down to, I think, 400 life point. Or no, I paid myself down to 1,000, and he just flipped trap for 2 and won the game. Unlucky. So I think this card is really nice in pure builds because it does allow you to go like Fenrir into Unicorn, Unicorn grab Birth, and then Birth back to Fenrir. So you can just easily get Fenrir Unicorn, and if you have any other starter, you get full combo as well as Fenrir Unicorn Birth. Teleport Fusion. This card is okay. During the main phase, you get to Fusion Summon by banishing from your field or grave. So usually what you're going into is the Absolute Axon Kicker. This card is it's a great interruption. It's a field banish for all face-up cards your opponent controls by paying 2k, and it can't be destroyed by card effects, so it's sort of a towers. Unfortunately, the Lunalite card has more attack than this, so L. Typically, the way you're using this card is on your opponent's turn, after you've detached from Punk Jam Fever, you'll have a Silent Psychic Magician and a Jam Dragon Drive in the grave. You'll banish those to make the Absolute Axon Kicker because it requires 2 synchros. This does have a floating effect, but I don't really use it. You could go into something like an Ultimus, but I don't think that's worth it. You're almost never needing this effect. Once you've resolved this, you've probably won. Stinger the Electric Expeller. You can technically play Primite in this deck. That's pretty cool. And then Rising Scale is another card from Battles of Legend Monster Mayhem. Silent Psychic Magician is our synchro climbing tool. If it's special summoned, you get to reborn something from grave or banished, and you can increase its level by 1, so that helps you get into like your Psychic Blaster MK2, which is a level 9, or get into your Jam Dragon Drive, which is an 8. Because you'd be reborning your Mind Procedure or your Psychic Minister. You could either increase its level by 1 to go into a 9 or not and go into an 8. This can also be treated as a non-tuner, which is pretty cool. It locks you into the extra deck for Psychic monsters, but we don't really care about that because by the time we get to this card, we've already done our Fiendsmith combo, we've already done our Punk combo, all of that stuff, or we're just playing pure. Thoughtcross Archfiend is interesting. During your main phase, during the main phase, you can target one of your banished 7 or lower psychics, special summon it. It has a battle phase effect to gain life and gain attack. I think it's mostly useful just to reborn something. Psychic Blaster MK2 is one of your main interruptions. It's a banish for a face-up monster on the field, quick effect, and it also can reborn something from banished. This can reborn from your opponent's banish, so but unfortunately it's not a quick effect, so you can't just like steal a white binder. Wish you could. Alright, so let's just talk a little bit about the game plan and why you would play this deck, what the interruptions look like. So in a pure build, you're playing pretty low to the ground. You're looking to establish your monster negate, maybe a Fenrir and a Unicorn, and potentially a Psychic Blaster MK2. Lambda is nice because it searches one of your psi frames. You can usually go into this. I'm playing 1 Teleport Fusion because I do like the option of going into the Axon Kicker if I have what I need. You know, if I draw something like a Parallel Teleport or an E-Tele along with a starter, it's nice to have that option to go into to increase your ceiling. But I don't think it's worth playing more than 1 copy of this card because you don't really want to draw it. It's not a starter. I'm playing 3 Parallel Teleport just to dodge stuff. I like the large Kashtira package with the Parallel Teleport. Kashtira cards are pretty insane interruptions on their own, and being able to pivot into them is pretty nice. We have like sort of a very balls to the walls combo version. This is a very different take on the deck. You're going Millennium, Fiendsmith, Punk, all in, trying to build an unbreakable board with like a Caesar, a Jura, a Blaster MK2, Jam Fever, and I think it's nice because it has a very high ceiling and you can pivot into Fiendsmith with 2 bodies pretty easily. Droll could be an issue. I think the biggest frustration I have with this deck is playing into Fua. You know, Punk and Fiendsmith both play into Fua pretty poorly, and your engine of the psychic cards also play into Fua pretty poorly, right? You have E-Telly, that's a draw. You have Serene Psychic Girl, that's a draw. You have going into Silent Psychic Magician, that's a draw. Going into Jam Dragon Drive, Jam Fever, you know, you're just giving your opponent so many cards. So you need to play like the Called by Ash. I would probably even play Droll in this deck, so you can draw yourself. Here's another sort of option where you're not playing the Millennium Engine, you're playing a heavier Fiendsmith package, playing some Ogre Dances. This video was a bit of a ramble, but I've been really sick, and I was in Alaska for like 2 weeks. So I apologize for the lack of videos lately. Please join the Discord. We got some cool people in there with some good ideas. And I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all that good stuff. If you have any questions, I am always available in the Discord to answer. Hopefully you guys can come up with better ideas than I do, because I'm not very smart, but it is what it is, you know, student becomes a teacher type shit. All right, peace.